Thank you so much for watching First Issues. Divorce is infamously one of the most stressful life events that anyone can experience, second only to bereavement in terms of its impact on one's overall quality of life, according to Holmes and Rahe's handy stress scale. Even if we put the painful emotional turmoil of a relationship split aside for a second, the practical and financial logistics involved in a divorce or separation are staggering. From dividing assets and expensive legal proceedings to working out potential co-parenting and moving home, it's no surprise that the stress of separation affects one's ability to focus at work. But this is only one side of the coin. The other could be not such a grim outlook on divorce or separation. While considering objectively that not all marriages are conducive environments for overall health, divorce can actually be a catalyst to one thriving in their career, their business is doing astoundingly well, and their mental health improving overall. During tonight's topic, we unpack the details of divorce, the process of divorce, its impact, whether good or bad, and how workplaces can support employees going through this difficult time. To open our conversation, we have therapist Tumelo Masalila and Wairimu Gachungi. We're here to talk about a perceived taboo topic in our society, right? Divorce. But before we go any further into our discussion, I want you to share with us, as somebody who has dealt with people who have been married, people who are still married, what the leading causes of divorce are.
Thank you very much for having me. Around this topic, the leading causes that I've noted are that one, infidelity is one of the main reasons, because with that, trust lines are broken. Then issues of material, where now the other party feels I need to withhold what I have, the other one feels I need to keep what I have. There's another common cause that I've noted, where the one party within the marriage would then feel I am the reason why this marriage is or it exists. Then now the other partner feels I'm probably just been taken for a ride.
I'm holding back because the only thing that I hear in church as a Christian who regularly go to church is you only divorce in case of infidelity. But is infidelity the only thing that causes divorce? What about abuse? Both emotional, physical, mental. What about where people divorced a long time ago, they stay in separate rooms, do separate things, but live in the same house? You find they are depressed, they are angry, they are bitter. So what does that mean? That they are unproductive at their places of work. They are unproductive as mothers, as fathers. They are just moving shells.
In our society, like I was saying earlier, divorce is seen as this negative thing. But I want us to have this conversation around divorce being both good and bad. Perhaps you can talk about the impact of divorce from both a negative and positive perspective.
I think from the negative perspective, divorce leaves couples disgruntled in the sense that nobody's left the same. Normally, because it's an exchange, altercations involved, people stretching from one direction to another. What started sweet and nice and beautiful, ending up sour. You know, the individuals get affected. We have cases where even their mental state is never the same. You would have issues around stigma, you know, that lead to people feeling this is the huge and biggest failure of my life. How then do I step up and get around and relate? First and foremost with your family, with maybe then your colleagues, you know. So that aspect alone, it becomes a problem. I think generally as a community, we also have a perception that people who divorce really maybe have done terrible things. The way we look at them is not the way that helps one to, recollect themselves and bounce back. Now, looking at the positive side, sometimes it's a relief, to be honest, because you would have had circumstances that were not pleasant within the marriage, leading you to parting ways with your beloved or with your partner. So you then become forced to step back, and for your good, it then works in your favor because you are relieved of a burden and a pain that you were undergoing at the time. At times also, because there are various reasons why we go into marriage. You would have probably perceived that this is the right person, and me getting in holy matrimony with them, it will take us very far. But then you realize along the way, we are just two individuals with parallel ambitions. So it can also be for the good that you part ways, so that then you can pursue what you want to pursue in life. And taking from a setup where it's a toxic environment, maybe it was abuse, maybe it was, all forms and manners of abuse. It then becomes to your good to leave, because then it doesn't make any point to be around someone who doesn't appreciate you, who doesn't bring the best version out of you.
Well, I can imagine, whether good or bad, the emotional toll that divorce can have on anybody, really. So how do you think that negative impact or the emotional toll, especially looking at, life as a whole is made of many facets. And for us to live, actually, we have to go to work. We have careers that we are trying to build. We have businesses that we're trying to have thrive. So how do we then make sure that this unpleasant situation that one is going through does not have that much of a negative impact?
The best thing I would advise would be therapy. The best thing that I would advise would be counseling. Because to tell you the truth, this is now a new world for you after maybe a couple of years that you would have enjoyed within this marriage. So the best thing is to focus on the mental state, where now a counselor or a therapist, somebody who's a professional in the field, can come in and help you balance the new norm. I see a lot of people, trying so hard to ignore and think that I can manage this by myself. And down the line, when you are about to, maybe you feel you've forgone that part, you want to engage in another relation, all that comes back. And it becomes difficult for you to fare from that point. So it's best that one can seek counseling, and then in that point, you are properly guided on how to adjust.
If your partner come and tell you today, I'm divorcing you, even when you've seen it coming, it's gonna hit you. You deny, no. You cannot divorce me. We've gone through this, we've done this, everybody came to our wedding, or that. So you get into a space of denial. Yeah, and it is okay, because you're not divorcing somebody you've not loved before. Yeah, the reason you married to him is because you loved him and there were goals in life, and you agreed and you saw before God and before people that I am going to be with you till death do us part. But then divorce come to do us part. So you go through frustration and anger. It's once you allow yourself to go through these emotions until you reach a point of acceptance. But while you're reaching that point of acceptance, you have to look into things that you can do to mitigate these emotions. Number one, look at the hobbies that you like doing. Number two, look for support systems that you'd like to have around you, whether it's family, friends, colleagues. But those are support systems. Let them not be support systems that bring you down.
Lastly, let us talk about this. Before we started this conversation on camera, right, you had talked about, rightly so, that, when people are at work and they have problems within work, normally those problems are not just about work. They emanate from other things that are happening in their lives outside of work. So my question is, how then do employers or companies or businesses then support their employees in a way that would help them thrive in spite of what is going on outside of the workplace, or even help them deal with the problems outside so that they're able to cope and manage and, still be able to do their work?
It's high time, that employers could become deliberate and intentional about the well-being, the general well-being of their employees. And I'm saying this because this is something that is not common in Botswana. We have where people are resourced to be better at what they do at work, but forgetting that they come from homesteads and setups which maybe probably wouldn't be as welcoming and well structured as in the place they work in. We have also taken a stand as a consultancy to also, pursue this and encourage employers to roll in programs. And also as they develop, the owners, the employers, it's important that they are also capacitated to know that you are dealing with a human being. And while they are here, there is an aspect of their emotions that needs to be taken care of. We've got programs like emotional intelligence, where we really encourage leaders to step up and do, because it's very important that when you are there cracking the whip and demanding for deadlines and work to be done, you should also be considerate of your employees' emotions. Yes, so that you don't miss anything, because when we get to work, we show face. We try to show up. Even if maybe you are in a very abusive relationship, you try to look strong so that you are not replaced, so that you are seen to be performing. But if you are broken inside, to be honest, there is no way you can function better. So programs have to be put in place deliberately. We need to go to the extent where now social issues are not ignored. If maybe perhaps you are bereaved, we need to really show the care. And I think that part, bearing in mind our culture, we are doing well on that. But now it needs to go further, where I could come to work and know that I can still talk to you and talk to you about issues that are happening to me at home, and even consider that as a safe space. Not where tomorrow I'll hear that, my issues, the whole office is talking.
I believe workplace should have a space for personal development, training, and it become a holistic approach where the organization realize that all the domains of our lives, especially social domain, which social domain brings about family, affect your career or your work. Because your social domain, if it is lagging down, if you're going through impact of divorce, definitely your mental health is affected. Your emotional health is affected. And you cannot function well at the place of work.
This conversation continues next time, where we will discuss the legalities of divorce to conclude this discussion with attorney at law Bonono Selelo.